Hey you guys, it's Abigail. So this last week I've been feeling really under the weather. I've been sick. And I thought it would be a good opportunity to share with you a restorative yoga practice that's good for when you're recovering from illness. Because it can feel, after a while, like you really want some of your yoga practice, but you still need something to keep you relaxed and rested. And your body, when you're sick, is your immune system kicks into gear and using all of your energy to hopefully help you to get feeling better as soon as possible. So restorative yoga supports you using lots of props and extra time and space so that your body can really physically relax. You can mentally relax and just kind of be held. Give yourself that extra support in times of healing. So we do use a lot of props, and you probably have a lot of this stuff on hand at home. I've got a couple of bolsters I'll be using. You could use pillows or rolled sleeping bags. I'm just using a couple of couch pillows. Blocks, you could use stacks of books or shoe boxes or something else. And then I've got 4 blankets and a towel. You might want a towel to cover the eyes. That little extra darkness can feel really soothing. Okay. Let's get started with our deluxe child's pose. Now I'm going to lay a blanket, fold it in half twice, so a quarter fold, onto my mat. If you have carpet or you're on your bed, that's totally fine. But just some extra padding for the underneath the knees and shins and feet can be quite nice. Now, child's pose is a deep flexion of the knees. So if you have any knee concerns at all, you can put extra pillows or blankets behind your knee joint. We're going to do a deluxe variation of child's pose. I'm using a couple of blocks. We're going to recline a bolster up. So this little L shape here. And then I'm going to bring my bolster reclined down. And then a second bolster here. I'll lay this out just alongside the edge, which then you'll come down to straddle. Make sure you have somebody, a caretaker with you if you have trouble getting up and down. But this straddling of the hips supported underneath is actually a lot less load on the knees, so that can be quite nice. Now, we all have to kind of work with whatever props we have. I kind of have this extra space here, so I'm going to fill it in with a blanket. I also have another rolled blanket. It's just feels a little bit heavier. I'm going to use this to lay across my low back, which I think feels absolutely amazing. If you've got an extra blanket or a weight, you could try that yourself if you have someone to help you get all these props in place. That's also nice. And just know that this is optional. If there's any pain in your low back, of course, release from that. All right, I'm going to cover myself with a blanket as well. I'm just going to get that blanket ready. I'll show you kind of what this pose looks like before I cover myself up. So you'll want to scooch forward enough that you can recline forward. You'll thread your arms and let your forearms rest on the block and your head be turned in one direction. Now, those of you who know me know that I had a stroke from an injury to my neck, and so I'm often very careful about the angle my neck is at. So I'm going to actually roll up my little eye pillow. I'm going to give my neck a little bit of support here. So instead of turning fully, I'll turn a little bit more at an angle and just use this for support. There we go. And then I don't feel like it's quite as deep of a turn for my neck. So that's the setup that I'm going to use. Now if you're flying solo like me, you can get your blanket ready. And then you'll slide forward to that point where it feels about right. And then recline yourself forward. Use any support for your neck that you need. Thread your arms through. Take a few deep inhales and exhales. And begin to allow your exhales to be longer than your inhales. So you might inhale to a count of 3. Exhale to a count of 4, 5, or 6. Inhale deeply. Exhale slowly. Really good to help the nervous system calm down. Helping to engage your parasympathetic nervous system, your relaxation response. And we'll stay here about 5 minutes, and then we'll switch the direction the head is turned. I'm going to actually throw my low back support in place so you guys can see that. If you have somebody who can place that for you, do. And settle. Settle into stillness. And then at about the 5-minute point, we'll slowly turn the head the opposite direction. And I'm using that extra head support. So I'm going to unwind my hands and then rethread them back through. Take those mindful breaths, slowing the exhale down. Settling into the props. Releasing the weight of the body. And just allowing gravity to take over here. And come out of this pose. Slide your forearms out. Plant your palms under your shoulders. Gently press up. Tuck your chin towards your chest. Lengthen the back of the neck. Maybe a couple of head rolls if that feels good. And remove the blanket from the low back if you chose to use that. Bring your hands on top of the bolster and gently press yourself upright. Take a few breaths here, not moving too quickly, not wanting to disperse that energy too quickly, and allowing the blood flow to normalize. Good. Next will be supported reclining bound angle. And this will be the next step towards ultimately getting into a nice long shavasana by the end of this, which is hopefully a nap. I'm going to remove one bolster. And this bolster is going to stay exactly as it is in this 45-degree angle, but I want to make a pillow for my head this time. So I'm going to make blanket scrolls. It's really important to support the neck, as you guys know. So I folded my blanket in half, and then I'm going to fold it in thirds. That's kind of what I like. It depends on the blanket that you're working with, of course. And then you'll start at either end and roll it in nice and tight, like you'd be rolling in a sleeping bag. So both ends get rolled in, and then you'll turn it and flip it. And then you've got like a little hammock for your head. You can open it as wide as you like. It really just kind of depends on the person. But you'll have a scroll on either side of the head, which is a really soothing feeling, actually. Now I'm actually going to use my couch pillows to support my legs in this position. You could use as many pillows as you need. You could even use blocks if you prefer. And sometimes I experience a little low back pain, so I'm going to show you what I do here. The space right below the bolster, I'll roll an extra blanket just to create a longer runway, a little more support for the low back. Lots of blankets is wonderful, as you can tell. So you're going to come to bring your back towards the reclined bolster and the soles of the feet together. Knees will fall open. Again, I'm going to use my couch pillows to support my knees. That might be enough for you. You might need extra support. Make sure you take care and listen to your body. I'm going to use my blanket. I have folded it in half twice. Okay, so I've got a nice long fold here. And I'm just going to lay that here on top of my legs just to get ready. So now I'm going to press down into the bolster and then recline back. And the first thing I want to do is check to make sure my blanket scrolls, my head hammock is nice. And I feel like I have this slight tuck in my chin. I can feel, the support on either side of my head. And then I'm going to bring the blanket on top of my arms. And I'll roll one end under. And then I'll snuggle the other one under. So essentially your arms are nice and swaddled. This feels so amazing, you guys. Now, I wish I had somebody here to put that eye covering on me. If you've got somebody at home, have them come, lay that towel across your eyes. I like this a little more than eye pillows because there's no pressure against your eyeballs, but you still get that sensation of darkness. And here we're just going to let the weight of the legs completely open. The arms can let go, be held by the blanket swaddle. The head is supported. So you can probably hear I've got a little head cold thing going on, and being in a reclined position instead of all the way down feels really soothing for that. And let's check out the breath again. This time let's find equal breath. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. And continue this pattern of 4 count breath just to create a nice soothing rhythm with each inhale and exhale as you sink into the props and let stillness take over. Nice. Now to come out of this position, first we'll lift our arms and remove the swaddle. Bring your hands outside your thighs. Turn your knees upward. Plant the soles of the feet. Take a breath there. Bring your hands underneath your hips. Tuck your chin in as much as it will go. And then gently press yourself up. Maybe pause for a moment with your hands resting on your shins. Just let the back be relaxed. And we'll release that pose. Nice. From here, we're going to move right into Navasana, or boat pose, supported reclining boat pose. And here, I'm going to actually fold up the seat of my blanket just a bit. So I have a nice little seat here, but I'm just going to keep the rest of my setup the way it is. We might as well take advantage of that. But we'll incorporate a second bolster again. And this time, we'll just place one blanket on medium height, one block on medium height with the bolster over. And, our recline looks about the same since I have two different heights of blocks, but you could play around with making these exactly equal. I like a little extra recline here on my torso and a little less on my legs. And we're going to do the same blanket swaddle that we did on our arms. We're just going to do that on our legs here. So we'll bring the legs up, wrap around the knees. This is where I like it most, and then tuck the blanket under. Just make sure that feels comfortable for you. Yes. And then press down to lengthen the spine. Inhale, exhale, recline yourself back again here. Make sure your blanket scrolls feel good. And then we've got our couch pillows handy. We're just going to take advantage of those. Allow the forearms to rest onto the softness of the pillow. Palms, I like palms face up. You could do face up or face down. See what feels good for you. Check again to make sure the low back feels enough support. I really like the little extra round blanket. And here with your legs tucked in and swallowed in, you can let go of the heavy muscles of the thighs, the calves, and the shins. You can let your knee completely release. And it feels really good to just let go and melt into gravity. Now, if you have somebody with you, to cover your eyes or to cover you with another blanket, that's great. I'm actually just going to put my eye covering on. It is wonderful. This is great if you suffer from migraines or headaches, even if you just don't have a migraine, but you get headaches with your sickness. This just feels good to sit in darkness, to be held. And the added value of reducing stagnation in the legs, which often happens if we find ourselves sitting a lot when we're sick, or even lying down a lot. Getting the feet elevated can feel really refreshing. Now let yourself completely release here. Release into a soft stillness, knowing that your body is doing all that it needs to on your behalf to get you feeling better soon. Now come back to your breath again. This is when I could just stay in all day. This is like the lazy boy yoga position. But let's go ahead and come out. And we'll set up for a nice shavasana, a supported shavasana. You might start by removing the eye covering, wiggling your toes and your fingers. Bend your knees up, remove your blanket, swaddle. Plant your feet on either side. Tuck your chin in and gently press your hands down into the floor to come up, very similar to the last pose. And again, you might just pause here for a few breaths, not dispersing the energy too quickly. Feeling your heartbeat, feeling your breath. And let's go ahead and set up for our final pose, Shavasana. So this time I'm going to turn the bolster that was supporting our legs in Navasana, and this is just going to go right underneath our knees. The rolled blanket that was our little runway really feels good underneath the back of the ankles here, just a little extra support there. Since we've already got our blanket scrolls made, we'll just keep those. And if yours unravels like mine just did, roll it back in. Okay, so we won't be needing this second bolster. And so we can set the blocks aside. Get the head hammock in place. And then go ahead and recline yourself back. Make sure those ankles are supported, knees are supported. Definitely let's cover ourselves up for this one. This is one where it might feel good to take a nice long nap. And I've got an extra bolster. You could use a folded up blanket if you wanted. But I'm going to just use this soft, small bolster and lay it across my low belly. It's not very heavy. It's just a tiny little bit of weight. And it feels really, really comforting. It also feels really good for my low back. If you're using an eye covering, place that. And then I'm going to thread my arms under the blanket. And let's move these couch pillows so that the hands can rest right on top. Just kind of place the pillow right at the wrist crease here, and that allows the shoulders to relax. If you need to make any small adjustment to improve your level of comfort, please do so. Even 5% more comfortable is infinitely worth it. And then once you find that place, let go of everything else. Let all tensions float in a soft body. You might even imagine here that your joints are hovering. Breathe into that softness. Let go of all effort, all doing, and be held here. We'll hold this pose longer. And I'll let you know when it's time to come out. If you choose to come out, feel free to stay as long as you like. And begin to draw your awareness back to the surface, back to your body here, resting on the props and on the floor. Wiggle your toes and your fingers. Take an energizing inhale, a complete deep exhale. I like to pull my knees into my chest after that. Maybe a gentle rocking side to side. Ultimately, rock yourself to one side. And then ever so slowly, use that top hand to gently press yourself up. Letting your blood flow back into homeostasis. And just notice if there's any different condition in your body, in the quality of your mind or your breath. If you maybe feel a little more relaxed, lighter, heavier, just notice what's coming up. You know that even just taking one restorative pose can feel quite nourishing when you're not feeling well. I trust that you'll be better in no time, and that I will too. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste.